We'll begin tonight from the presidential villa where security heads, where President Bola Tinubu has directed security agencies to intensify efforts on ensuring lasting peace and stability in some troubled states in the country. The president met with heads of intelligence agencies at the State House. State House correspondent Musbal Wahab reports.
Benue, Borno and Plateau states are back in the news recently for the unwanted reason. Security disturbances troubling parts of the states. On the directive of the Commander-in-Chief, security heads have visited the troubled areas for assessments. The heads of intelligence agencies just back from their trips are here to brief the president. With a sense of urgency, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, Director General Department of State Services Adeola Ajayi, his counterpart in the National Intelligence Agency Mohammed, Chief of Defense Intelligence Major General Emmanuel Undiendeye went into the meeting behind closed doors. It lasted about 2 hours.
We gave him what is going on, and we also assured him that work is ongoing and continuous. We also carried out his instructions. We went around. The chiefs were all out where we had these sparks and incidents of insecurity. Plateau State, Benue State, even Borno, these particular 3 states. And we gave him a feedback because he directed us to go meet with the political authorities there.
It also came with new directive from the president who wants improved partnerships with the sub-nationals as the security agencies double down and ensure peace and stability in the country.
He's so worried and concerned. He insisted that enough is enough, and we are working and to ensure that we restore peace and security. And all of us are there. The armed forces are there, the civil police, the intelligence communities. They are there. They are working there 24 hours. We are getting the cooperation of the, like I said, the leadership at the state level and everybody. So we are good. It's not really 100% that everything is safe and secure, but we are going there. Things have improved since. We do not underestimate even one life lost. We don't take it for lightly, no, at all. But certainly, a lot of things have changed and improved, and it will continue to. We are on right track. We are on right direction, and we will not relent. We will not sit down. We will not stop until when we are able to achieve results. The same thing with Borno.
The NSA assures of security presence in the troubled areas. From the State House, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, says the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport Minna's runway is of international standard and has declared it as an alternative to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The minister made the remarks at the inauguration ceremony of commercial flights from the airport, witnessed by the Ministers of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and that of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. Husseina Musa has the details.
Inauguration of commercial flights from the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport, Minna, aligns with the President's Renewed Hope initiative that seeks to enhance economic revitalization and infrastructural development, as well as improve connectivity across the country. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, who commended the state government's efforts in ensuring that operations in the airport commence, said the initiative will also promote an agro-hub.
The kind of runway we have here, the facilities and the nearness of the Minna International Airport, or the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Airport to Abuja, this should be the alternative airport.
Today is a consolidation of that vision. I'm sure the president, wherever he is, will be proud that what he came to fruition didn't just become an historical monument. It's actually an active airport that we have here.
But today, by the
grace of God, we have rekindled that dream in our vision to make Niger State visible.
Coupled with the fact that this is also an agro aviation airport with a lot of agricultural potentials, I think you should also begin to think about overland cargo. Definitely that will also see.
This opportunity created by the farmer governor will allow citizens of Niger State to fly from any part of the world through onward connections to Abuja and Lagos.
If the occasion demands, he will make sure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu Airport has also the same status with the NTA Airport.
The visiting team were conducted round facilities at the airport.
Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
And still on the inaugural flight in Niger State, commercial flight activities have commenced at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport, Minna. The Minister of Information and National Orientation was among dignitaries at the inaugural flight that landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara was there.
After more than 4 decades of operations, the wait is now over as prospective commercial air travelers can now access the sky to any part of the world. Niger State government, through its new Niger aviation policy, is working to enhance the aviation ecosystem and harness the state's natural endowment.
Right now, we are building the largest greenhouses around the airport city in Africa. It means you can have fresh flowers delivered across Africa, fresh agro-processed materials everywhere in the world. This is one of the attractions.
We have to appreciate our president, like my governor has said. This is a dream come true. The governor has indeed made this to happen. He's so passionate about opening up Niger State, about opening it up for agriculture, for opening it up for commerce, for industry, for prosperity, I should say. And then one very key issue we need to talk about is the kind of collaboration that Mr. President is always talking about between the federal government and the subnationals. This is one great example that the Niger State has shown, that the state can indeed come together with the federal government to collaborate in order to bring prosperity to Nigeria.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport has the agro-processing free trade area. And the essence is to encourage processing of agricultural produce, food for that matter, so that with an aviation facility like the airport, a lot of things can be taken out of. So Niger State is actually the state where agriculture is.
And the mission we have started today, Lagos to Minna, Minna to Abuja, and you saw the number of people that came off the plane. It has sustained itself.
Meanwhile, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has taken over the leadership of Niger State Development Forum, a non-governmental and non-partisan group that is championing an adversary role to Niger State government in order to fast-track development.
No meaningful development can take place in the absence of peace and security. And conversely, the dividends of development often serve as a catalyst for peace and stability.
Niger State government has already started work in progress to develop a 50-year long-term plan, 30-year mid-term plan, and a 10-year short-term plan.
Niger State Governor Mohammed Umar Bago inaugurated the forum and assured to sustain efforts towards building a new Niger State. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Similarly, the process for the commencement of commercial flight operations at the Gateway Agro Cargo International Airport has begun with the official visit of officials of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency who carried out validation of facilities at the airport. Hakim Jimo has all the details.
The flight check by senior personnel of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency was to evaluate facilities at the airport to ensure it conforms with the proposed procedure defined for the airport in line with international best practice.
We have seen the procedure that are drawn. We've checked it on the air, and then we'll analyze when we get back to our base, and then we'll be able to come up with recommendations for modifications where necessary. About 4 kilometers runway, that's quite interesting.
The Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure in Ogun State, Ade Akinsoya, is optimistic that the airport will soon be ready for commercial operations.
This is one of the last elements of things we need to do to get the commercial approval. They've gone through what is called the 23 and the 05, checking, identify all the key, what is known as the waypoints along the way. So once the flight check everything, this will be developed and put on the internet for anybody who wants to come from anywhere in the world.
For the Commissioner of Works, the airport, which is 97% completed, has ultra-modern state-of-the-art facilities at the control tower, terminal building, firefighting section, among others. From Elishan Remo in Ogun State, Akim Jimo, NTA News.
Let's look away from air transport now and talk agriculture, as farmers are increasingly embracing the federal government's concept of agricultural mechanization to enhance food security. Musa Babali reports that rural women farmer groups in Kano State have acquired equipment to improve their farming activities.
Karimatu Aliyu is a small-scale farmer in Garumala local government area of Kano State. She, along with her female counterparts in the community, jointly cultivated a 4-hectare wheat farm. They have achieved a good yield and ready for harvest. Karimatu mentioned that they were motivated and encouraged by the Women Farmers Advancement Network to embrace dry season farming. She explained that previously they were often idle after the rainy season. Now we have learned to cultivate wheat, and here are the results, she says. One remarkable achievement of the women's group is their ability to pool resources and purchase a combined harvester. Together, they monitor and supervise the operation of this heavy-duty equipment on their wheat farm.
After harvest, the 3,000 people contributed 3,000. So 3,000 by 3,000 people, that's 9 million. Another 9 million in dry season farming, another 9 million after the wheat farming. That makes it 27 million from the groups. And WOFAN now supported them with a soft loan to make it 54 million. And we now own this beautiful combined harvester that is here.
This is a 4-hectare of wheat plantation cultivated by women group here in Garumala local government area of Kano State. Averagely, it will take them about 1 or 2 weeks to harvest their crop. But with this combined harvester, it will take only 1 hour or less than that to clear the farm. In addition to the combined harvester, the women have also acquired tractors to enhance their farming operations. Rafa'atu Garba Salisu, a 27-year-old member of the Women's Farmers Group, expressed their pride in their transition from manual to mechanized farming.
At the age of 30, 37, you see our parents or our brothers back are bending. But now, this is a typical example now. I can drive this tractor. It's a great achievement as a youth and from rural community to have this great opportunity.
Their dream is to be able to operate the machinery independently within a few years without needing to involve male operators. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
In other news, Nigeria could save the $4 billion annual value of steel industry import expenditure with increase in local content and capacity of the sector. The Minister of Steel Development, Shaibu Abubakar Audu, made this known at an engagement with stakeholders during his working visit to Lagos. Joel Popola tells us more.
The creation of the Steel Development Ministry is an attestation to the determination of the current administration to revive the sector that had been in limbo for decades. and the agenda of the current administration, the Minister Shuaibu Abubakar says is already yielding the desired results, with local industries demonstrating capacity to meet the annual demand for steel and allied products in Nigeria. This has also resulted in direct and indirect employment for thousands of Nigerians. The minister, who is impressed with the impact the ongoing reforms is having on the industry, especially in the area of local content, says incentives will be provided to sustain the ongoing momentum.
Part of what we're looking to do is to create a methodological industry bill where we can put fiscal incentives that can encourage local production and encourage steel production as a whole.
At a costly visit to the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Obafemi Hamzat, as part of the working visit, he notes that support of the state government is instrumental to propel the steel industry to its rightful place.
We're here to get all the support we can get from the Lagos State government.
In terms of all the factories in Lagos, Lagos State will feed into the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President and our party.
With key players on the same page, it is hoped that the growth trajectory of the sector will be sustained. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
And from steel production, let's talk about electricity now, as the adoption of solar power as a clean and reliable energy excites electricity consumers in Nigeria, as many households, institutions and communities are gradually migrating to solar energy owing to inadequate supply from the national grid. With this, the federal government has set 2030 targets as the year to achieve 30,000 megawatts generation from renewable energy. Joshua Ojito takes a look at the milestones, challenges and prospects of the solarization program as Nigeria navigates to meet the 2030 target.
One community at a time, Nigeria is gradually closing the energy gap through deployment of solar mini-grids to unserved and underserved communities. Rural economy being boosted with jobs created across the value chain of the subsector. Renewable energy is not just environmentally friendly, but a wheel that also propels the economy.
When this light comes, this solar power comes, so I also thought of it like, since the power is available, I think if I should open these shops like this, if I should recharge my meter for 5,000 naira, it can take me a month. So, but I cannot get to for 5,000 naira to take me a week.
REA has facilitated the development of different renewable energy generation capacity to the level of 860 megawatts. And through all that, we impacted about 7.8 million lives in the country. We have connected 1.8 million houses. We have developed 150 mini-grids and also deployed over 1.5 million solar home systems across the countries.
The reliability of solar energy makes it acceptable with organizations and private individuals migrating to solar energy, but quackery remains a major challenge in the subsector, with calls for federal government to regulate the market.
Presently now, the government already bring a lot of policies there, domestication of the manufacturing of those parts, so that we reduce our importation in order to improve our own economy.
While federal government sustains interventions in the deployment of solar mini-grids in rural areas, public buildings, health and educational institutions, subnationals are expected to key in and invest more on renewable energy in order to reduce pressure on the national grid.
Mr. President graciously approved that we solarize every university and also critical hospitals in the country with 2 megawatts of mini-grid, that solar PV system, to take them off the grid.
Nigeria targets 30,000 megawatts generation from renewable energy sources by the year 2030. And with the current momentum of interventions and acceptability of solar power, hope rises for achieving the target in the next 5 years. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Many thanks, Joshua. Meanwhile, 3 million women are expected to gain access to cleaner sources of energy between 2025 and 2027. The initiative is coming from the Minister of Women Affairs and the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation. Maria Ado-Zakari has the details.
The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has partnered with the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation to bring forth a new initiative aimed at tackling energy poverty among women in the 774 local government areas of the country.
Every year, over 80,000 Nigerian women die prematurely from the toxic of smoke from firewood and traditional cooking stoves. Today, over 85 million Nigerians, 43% of our population, still live without access to electricity. Most of these people are women and children in the rural communities, where darkness isn't just about the absence of light, it's about the absence of opportunities, dignity, safety, and hope.
We are earmarking for the start 5 billion naira specifically for this initiative to empower, enable women get access to alternative energy. And so we're targeting mobility, energy, renewable energy, digital devices. And today we are expanding with women, particularly our focus on renewable energy.
The campaign will prioritize rural and underserved communities where access to reliable and clean energy remains extremely limited. Experts have welcomed the move, describing it as a potential game changer for women's health, economic empowerment, and climate resilience. Maria Adu-Zakari, NTA News.
Let's talk politics now. Delta State Governor Sharif Oborobori and other People's Democratic Party stakeholders in the state have defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. This was disclosed by the State Commissioner for Works and Public Information, Charles Anyogo, after a closed-door meeting of stakeholders in Government House, Asaba. Susan Esu reports.
Past and present National Assembly members, House of Assembly, local government chairmen, and other stakeholders of the PDP in Delta State for a closed-door meeting which lasted for close to 6 hours. Press men waited anxiously to be briefed. Then came the much-anticipated news that Governor Sharif Oborobori has shifted grounds politically after months of consultations.
The leaders of the party, in the course of the consultation, were unanimous in their view that the political temperature have changed. We needed to take a decision that will further help to cement the development in our state. And in taking that decision, we came to the inevitable conclusion that moving out of the PDP is very, very necessary for us to be able to collaborate with our kith and kin and build that state that every Delta will be proud of.
Pioneer member of the PDP in the state, Senator James Manager, also added that the move is as a result of the internal wranglings in the People's Democratic Party. Susan Esu, NTA News.
And in reaction to that report, the Progressive Governors Forum says the recent movement of Delta State Governor Sharif Oborobori and other political stalwarts from the leading opposition PDP to the governing All Progressives Congress is an indication of a working presidency that keeps to the oath of office. The forum, led by its chairman and Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodimma, describes the action as a well-thought-out move, considering the massive infrastructure transformation and economic prosperity recorded under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in less than 2 years.
Some of our colleagues that were not produced by our party have seen the efforts of the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and have decided to join us so that together we can build a more united and prosperous Nigeria. And in our party, we take the issues of subnational governments very seriously. As you know, the convention of our party, All Progressive Congress, having governors as the leaders of the party in all the states, having governors as ambassadors of federal government at the subnational level. So when a governor is crossing over to come into our party, we see it as a healthy development, and we see it as a reason to pat our back and say to glory be the Almighty God.
Hope Uzodimma adds that the party will continue to offer services that will endear more Nigerians into the party for purposeful governance and generational change in all aspects of Nigeria. Now time for a break. More news. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. On the continued coverage of ECOWAS Council of Ministers emergency meeting in Accra, the Council is working out modalities and offering solutions for a seamless disengagement process. Garba Nata'ala reports.
The Council of Ministers are still meeting, and we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, to brief us a bit about their discussions so far.
Thank you. The authority of heads of state and government of ECOWAS mandated the Council of Ministers of ECOWAS, which I'm chairing here, to come up with and deliberate on a contingency plan for the exit of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. So this is all-encompassing. It covers so many different areas. It covers the economic activities between ECOWAS and the three countries, free movement of people. So we're talking about border issues, we're talking about trade, we're talking about the employees of those countries that are working in ECOWAS, because they also have to leave. And very critical areas such as the GIABA. GIABA is the ECOWAS agency that relates to the Financial Action Task Force. So when they leave, effectively they're also leaving GIABA, which is likely to affect their listing in terms of financial transparency. And so the task here is to try and do it in as smooth a manner as possible, so that it does not, for one, affect the smooth running of ECOWAS activities.
At the end of the meeting, they are expected to brief the media on resolutions taken so far. From Accra, I am Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
Many thanks, Garba. We understand that the meeting is still ongoing, and of course, we hope to get all the details from Garba as soon as it unfolds. All right, a high-level meeting convened by Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres hours ago championed a crucial climate talk with representatives of world leaders. Charles Alpha reports that the central agenda was how to significantly combat the climate crisis with a firm focus on achieving a 50% emission reduction by 2030 and the ambitious 1.5 degrees Celsius target not later than 2050.
After the 29th Conference of Parties in Abuja, Brazil was selected as the host country of the 30th edition of the UN conference. And this explains why the crucial closed-door virtual session that was attended by a cross-section of world leaders, including from some of the world's largest economies and most climate-vulnerable countries, particularly Africa and the Caribbean community. The African Union, ASEAN, and the Alliance of Small Island States and CARICOM were also part of the 17 participants. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres briefed the media at the end of the closed-door meeting, where he said the world cannot allow climate commitments be blown off course and that leaders must keep building momentum for action at COP30 in Brazil, with the crisis deepening poverty, displacing communities and fueling conflict and instability.
These new climate plans offer a unique opportunity to lay out a bold vision for a just green transition over the next decades. They should align with 1.5 degrees and set emissions reduction targets that cover all greenhouse gases and the whole economy, as several today mentioned clearly. Most importantly, They should help speed up a just transition away from fossil fuels to renewables.
He urged leaders to take action on two fronts. First, to step up efforts to submit the strongest possible national climate plans well ahead of COP30, while leaders must do all they can to scale up support for developing countries as those least responsible for climate change are suffering from its worst effects. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has urged world leaders to demonstrate unity, courage and sustained commitment in addressing the worsening global climate crisis. This was at a high-level virtual dialogue on climate where he reaffirmed Nigeria's dedication to forging a paradigm shift in which climate action and economic growth advance together, not in opposition. President Tinubu outlined Nigeria's Energy Transition Plan, ETP, as a bold, pragmatic roadmap for reaching net zero emissions by 2060. The ETP targets 5 core sectors: power, cooking, transportation, oil and gas and industry, and identifies a financing need of over $410 billion by 2060 to achieve these goals. President Tinubu underscored Nigeria's role as an anchor country in the Mission 300 initiative implemented in partnership with the World Bank and the African Development Bank. The initiative is aimed at delivering electricity to 300 million Africans by 2030. As part of the broader energy reforms architecture, President Tinubu announced the finalization of the Nigeria Carbon Market Activation Policy in March 2025, a policy to unlock about $2.5 billion by 2030 in high-integrity carbon credits and related investments. In other news, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, says the newly formed Presidential Committee on Population and Housing Census, an ad hoc technical body, is committed to its task of identifying funding sources and ensuring proper planning for the upcoming enumeration exercise. Bagudu, who chairs the committee with the NPC chairman, Nasser Kwara, as secretary at its inaugural meeting, highlighted the team's primary assignment to providing informed guidance on financing strategies, institutional coordination and practical timelines for the census, emphasizing that the National Population Commission's work is to plan, coordinate and conduct population and housing census in the country. Having established a strong foundation, the minister expects members to fulfill their responsibilities.
The existing census budget to align it with current fiscal realities and national priorities. 2, recommend feasible sources of funding for the census, clearly distinguishing between domestic resources and external partnerships. 3, develop a comprehensive resource mobilization strategy, taking into consideration engagement with potential development partners, international agencies, and domestic private sector entities. 4, assess existing preparations, logistics, and technical capacities of the National Population Commission and recommend areas requiring immediate strengthening. This no doubt include any other government agency that can be of assistance.
Now time to talk business, and our businessman, Benny Adams, is here. Benny, feed us.
Thank you, Yeri. And talking business will take you through a community trying to embark on economic growth. That is in the heart of the savannah, where a once thriving jewel lies awaiting to sparkle again. Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, ravaged by insecurity and humanitarian crisis, is poised for a remarkable rebirth. This is as the Borno Development Foundation, a collective of illustrious sons and daughters, have taken the challenge to restore their beloved state to its former glory, as they are not doing it alone, but with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group offering technical support towards the restoration of a thriving economy that will attract investors and talents. creating a virtuous circle of growth where the people of the region can look forward to a brighter future, free from the shackles of poverty and insecurity, as the once ravaged jewel is in the savannah is set to shine again, radiating hope and prosperity for generations to come.
The Northeast has the agroecological zone with the potential to provide grains for the whole of West Africa. That's its real potential.
Solve the issues in the Northeast. It becomes easier to also solve it in the Northwest and in many other parts of the country.
Put all our best efforts to ensure that Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, and perhaps even the Northwest, when we finish succeeding in these other areas, will come out of this quandrum that we're in.
And looking at the stock market, the Nigerian exchange sustained its bullish trend on Wednesday amid renewed interest in some banking stocks, as the all-share index rose 52 basis points to close at 105,283.67 basis points, up from 104,739.61 basis points on Tuesdays. Investors gained 341.86 billion naira as market capitalization increased to 66.16 trillion naira. Looking at the South African market, the South Africa GSE Top 40 actually went down by 0.13% to close at 82,614.19 basis points. And only the Tunisia Tune Index managed to stay afloat, gaining 0.67% to close at 11,168.06 basis points, which means the markets in Africa, talking about stocks in Africa, actually doing well against the stocks in Europe as well as Asia, following the trade wars that is ongoing. Though conversations in Washington, D.C. now is talking about how these countries will be resilient, looking at alternative markets to be sustainable and staying afloat. Well, this is it on business. Inyere, I'm still waiting to hear that you've listed some of those stocks in the Nigerian stock market.
Many thanks, Benny. Let's look at other news now. Nigerian Shippers Council is interacting with key players in the shipping industry in the north-central zone, just towards promoting exports, increase foreign exchange earnings, and improving the balance of trade. And the Young Adeyaba Gang reports.
Reviving the inland dry port in Plateau State, rail transportation, power and incentives, among others, were some issues that dominated discourse at the interaction with key players in the shipping industry in the North Central Zone towards ensuring effectiveness, ease of doing business, and setting standards in the entire transport logistic chain.
With the takeoff of dry container port, I think we can harness and we'll have packaging equipment within, which is going to add value to what we are doing.
All stakeholders need to know that they are beneficiaries of what the government has in mind to do.
To the Shippers Association, it's a welcome idea.
These dry ports function more efficiently when there is a rail connection.
With Nigeria being a signatory to the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, there is the need to position entrepreneurs to take advantage of the opportunities therein.
One of the major areas of concern is maritime logistics. How do we bridge that gap? We need to bring awareness to people. We need to bring critical logistics infrastructure to the doorsteps of shippers so that they can take advantage of that.
We expect to see a continuity of this process and eventually will drive the economic process of the Plateau State.
Nigerian Shippers Council as a port economic regulator, and we facilitate the ease of doing business. We will now gradually start removing the clog in the wheel of business.
As part of the council's engagement in Jos, the executive secretary visited the inland dry port Haipang concession to the Plateau Investment and Property Development Company Limited with the assurance that talks are ongoing to get credible investors. He also inspected facilities at the Zonal Coordinating Office in Jos. Indenyan and Abuja, NTA News.
And away from Jos, the Nigerian Brewers has unveiled the modern skill acquisition center in its main host community of Mekerak in Kaduna State as part of its corporate social responsibility to empower the youths of the community. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports.
Living up to its slogan, Share Happiness, the company producing the Maltina brand built this skill acquisition center for the youth of Maikera Kakuri community, home to the main brewery company to put smiles on their faces. The center is equipped with modern facilities for various vocational skills to help the young people of the community learn practical skills. The community members are here to celebrate the initiative to empower their children.
At Nigerian Breweries PLC, our purpose extends beyond brewing beverages. We are equally committed to brewing prosperity, hope, and empowerment for the people and communities we serve.
What Nigerian Breweries has accomplished here today resonates deeply with the vision and priorities of the Senator Obasani's administration. As you may be aware, a cornerstone of our government's agenda is comprehensive skills development and youth empowerment.
They have done a lot of boreholes to us, and presently you have seen the structure put in place here by Maltina.
In a show of appreciation, they honored the managing director of the brewery company with the traditional title of Haskem Father Makera, meaning the light of Makera. This Maltina Skill Acquisition Center is expected to have positive impacts on the lives of the youth of this community. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Marajingi, NTA News.
And in Jigawa State, a renewed push for open governance is bridging the gap between leaders and the people. The ongoing Government and Citizens Engagement Forum has become a vital platform for dialogue, allowing citizens to hold officials accountable, while commissioners outline key achievements under Governor Umar Namadi's administration. From road projects to youth empowerment initiatives, the event highlighted tangible strides in development. But more importantly, it reinforced the power of citizen participation in shaping a more transparent and inclusive future. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
In Gagarawa local government area, commissioners have been taking turns to outline key achievements of Governor Umar Namadi administration over the last 20 months, highlighting completed projects, ongoing initiatives and plans in the pipeline in sectors such as works and transport, health, education, youth and women empowerment and political inclusion. The people of Gagarawa are beginning to feel the impacts of purposeful governance. Projects like the construction of township roads, development of an industrial cluster in the area, and skill acquisition programs in the local governments are not only enhancing infrastructure, but also empowering residents, especially youth and women, with tools for self-reliance. Cash grants have also been disbursed in the past to support small and medium-scale enterprises across the area.
The essence of this program is not only to wait until when it is time for campaign to go back to the people. No, come back to them when you are in government. Tell them, look, this is what we have done to you, and this is what we are expecting to do in the future. But what are your response on these things we are doing? And the people will always respond. You have heard all the comments the people have said. So I think this program is a successful program.
The administration's inclusive style and commitments to equitable development, stakeholders say, are made possible by a strong synergy between Governor Namadi, lawmakers at all levels and local government chairmen, creating a level playing field for progress statewide. For the people of Gagarawa, the APC-led government has delivered not just projects, but renewed hope and a better quality of life through consistent support from federal, state and local structures. From Duty, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
It was a grand occasion in the ancient Daura Emirate when people from across the country witnessed the conferment of the traditional title known as Saudana Kasa Hausa Metuta by Emir Umar Farouk Umar. The distinguished traditional title is an honor to one of the top members of the House of Representatives from Kano State, Alhassan Ado Dogowa. Husseini Suleiman was at the ceremony and now reports.
This is the atmosphere of the Daura Palace when the family, friends and well-wishers converge to celebrate with the House of Representatives member for Tudunwada Dogo constituency in Kano State. Alhassan Ado Dogo has now turban as the traditional title holder of Sardaunan Kasar Hausa Metuta after fulfilling the traditional process by the Emir of Daura, Umar Faruk Umar. The Emir said the honor is in recognition of the laudable contributions by Alhassan Ado Dogo to the development of women, youth and the country at large.
Sardaunan Hausa Metuta has many capacity in various ways.
I want to use this opportunity to call on them to continue doing the good things they are doing.
The newly turban Sardaunan Kasar Hausa Metuta expressed his gratitude to the Emir, pledging more contribution for the development of the Emirate and beyond.
I have no enough words to express my appreciation, but in all I will be grateful to Allah, and I want to say to His Highness the Emir of Daura and the entire members of his council that I have taken this as a challenge, and by Allah's grace I will not disappoint you.
A mini Darbar was featured by Sardaunan Kasar Hausa as part of the timely and befitting ceremony. In Daura, Hussein Suleiman, NTA News.
The body of Pope Francis was moved to St. Peter's Basilica early Wednesday to lie in state for the Catholic faithful to pay their respects to the Argentine pontiff, remembered for his humble style, concern for the poor, and insistent prayers for peace. Kolo Mohammed has the report.
Pallbearers carried the simple wooden coffin on their shoulders through the Vatican's Archway Gate, out into St. Peter's Square and into the Basilica with a procession of cardinals in scarlet cassocks and Swiss guards in their golden and blue uniforms slowly behind it. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, who is running the Vatican temporarily until a new pope is elected, led the procession with clouds of incense preceding him. Heads of state are expected for Francis' funeral Saturday in St. Peter's Square, but the 3 days of public viewing are largely for ordinary Catholics to grieve the 88-year-old Pope. Francis first lay in state in the Santa Marta Domus and a private viewing for Vatican residents and the papal household. His body was transferred from his residence at Casa Santa Marta, where he died. Thousands of mourners and worshippers flocked to St. Peter's Square in the Vatican on Wednesday to witness the ceremonial transfer of Pope, as dozens of cardinals and other members of the clergy led the procession. The public will be able to pay their respects from Wednesday until Friday, with the funeral taking place on Saturday. His death also follows a long-running battle with pneumonia and hospitalization earlier this year. The Argentine pontiff, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires in 1936, was the first Latin American and first Jesuit pope. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
And as the Catholic Church community worldwide prepares to give the late spiritual leader, Pope Francis, a befitting burial in Rome come Saturday, the Catholic Archdiocese of Lagos, Nigeria, has organized a Requiem Mass as part of activities to observe the period of mourning for the repose of his soul. Emir Udori attended the service, and her report is here presented.
The Requiem Mass is to thank God for the ministry of late Pope Francis and the selfless care with which he led the Church as successor of Peter and Vicar on earth, and for the life of committed service and personal sacrifice that characterized his 12 years pontificate. The congregation also used the occasion to pray to God to sustain the church in faith, hope and love, especially in its period of mourning. The Archbishop, Most Reverend Alfred Adewale Martins, while encouraging the Church of God, said the demise of the Pope comes with mixed feelings and called on the faithful not to mourn like people without hope.
Let us express our sorrow, let us express our sadness, but let us also not forget that the person who has died has just simply gone back home.
A condolence register has been opened at the Archdiocese where parishioners are registering their condolences.
He's been able to portray the church leaders as serving.
He was united with Christ in death, and we believe by the special grace of God, he'll be united with him in resurrection.
Pope Francis was born on 17th December 1936. He was ordained a Jesuit priest on 13th of February 2001 and cardinal on 21st of the same month. On 13th March 2013, he was elected Pope, succession to Pope Benedict XVI. Pope Francis led the Roman Catholic Church with remarkable contributions to its life until his death on Easter Monday, 2025.
This is News Extra. There's more news after this break. Please remain tuned. Thank you for remaining tuned. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has pledged commitment of the Army to wiping out bandits and other criminal elements in the north-central states and other parts of the country. He gave the assurance during an operational visit to the 22 Armored Brigade Sobi cantonment in Loring. Abdul Hafiz Alaya's report is here presented.
The Chief of Army Staff inspecting a guard of honor during his first visit to the brigade.
He said people of Nigeria look up to the military to protect them from aggressions, and the army under his watch cannot afford to disappoint.
Never again will Nigerian army allow any parts of the country to be occupied by terrorists.
We have been challenges in parts of Kwara, up to Bogu in Niger State. And if we allow this thing to fester, that means we're going to have another northeast in our hands. So you're out here, and I know you can do it, to make sure those people leave that place. For us, they want to enter another country, that's their business. But you must push them out of those forests, so that we will not have another set of Boko Haram stopping us here. So do you promise me that? Yes, sir!
Nigeria, under President Tinubu, prioritizes the welfare of the army and their families, hence the huge investments in their education, accommodation, kits and feeding. The Chief of Army Staff also had one-on-one interaction with the soldiers to know their challenges with a view to solving them and boost their operational effectiveness.
Now, 4 persons have been reportedly killed following an attack by armed gunmen who invaded Swale community, leaving tears and sorrow as the community mourns their loss. Gift Ogbe, who followed up the report, has details.
32-year-old Bomkane Agada, a native of Swale community and furniture designer, was amongst the victims of the unknown gunmen attack on Saturday, 16th April 2025.
To me, I was just busy locking the doors. Then the next thing, they shot him from the window. I thought it was a baby. I lie her down, I shaked her because she was crying heavy. Like I said, Jesus, they don't shoot my pikin. I lie her down, I shake, it was not her. When I turned, it was him.
I seen they shoot inside the room. I come they beg and say I beg no shoot. And my children, me and my children, I ain't inside the house. I beg no shoot, I beg no shoot. Oh, now my husband then they I beg no shoot. I mean after I shoot finish for the backyard, now I mean come waka, come go. After like 5 minutes, somebody start to shout. At that time I used to know say they don't shoot person for inside my kitchen.
We really need the state government at least to bring more security into this our Swale community, to restore more peace.
The government work with information. If they have any information and they don't relate it with the government, the government will not be able to do anything.
Efforts to speak to the police public relations officer by Aso State Command was unsuccessful as at the time of filing this report. In Yenegua, Gift Ogbe, NTA News.
And still on security matters, the Nigerian Television Authority will strengthen existing synergy through adequate projection of the Nigerian Air Force activities. This was disclosed when the Executive Director, News, Ayo Adewoye, hosted the Director of Public Relations and Information Headquarters, Nigerian Air Force, at the NTA headquarters in Abuja. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello has details.
The Nigerian Air Force had long soared above the headlines and visible in the skies, while their mission grew in scale and significance from counter-terrorism to disaster relief and public awareness. The force needed a strong voice on the ground to match its strength in the air. Hence, this visit by the Director of Public Relations and Information to cement the already existing relationship between the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian Television Authority.
The battle space has changed. It's much more than just bombs and bullets. Now we're talking about winning hearts and minds, about building trust. And this is in line with the 61st anniversary theme that the Nigerian Force is projecting, which is about optimizing civil-military relations.
The Nigerian Television Authority, which exudes professionalism and accuracy, as a national broadcaster, reiterates its commitment to world peace and national development in line with its vision and mission.
We understand the importance of the armed forces and the need for us to synergize in achieving the security that we all desire in Nigeria. That is why, like I said, we have to attach correspondence to each of the arms of the armed forces because of the importance. So I hope we will continue the relationship and strengthen
The NTA says it will continue to be at the front line of objectivity, projecting the activities of the armed forces as they continue to protect Nigeria's territorial integrity. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Away from security matters, let's talk education, as the federal government is advocating a policy that will enhance quality, flexibility and career prospects for teachers. This is as talks are ongoing to implement the dual mode of studying Nigeria certificates in education and degree programs concurrently towards modernizing teachers' education in colleges of education in the country. Zedwet Digbun reports.
For some time now, the federal government has been working on appropriate modalities to addressing the challenges facing teacher education in the country. And as talks progress on the implementation of dual mandate in Nigerian colleges of education, the Minister of Education is tasking stakeholders to embrace the initiative, as he explains that the benefits of studying NCE and degree programs concurrently are enormous and will transform teacher training.
If colleges of education do it well, you will have more enrollment than universities. You have more enrollment than polytechnics, because you've given children that don't have the opportunity to go to university or polytechnic with the credit, you've given them pathway. At the same time, you're absorbing students that met the requirement to go to universities.
Most of these institutions that were selected to kickstart this process are institutions that already are operating dual mandate, just that not as an independent institution, but rather in affiliation with other institutions.
We have tried so much to see that we go by global standard. UNICEF and UNESCO are solidly behind us in collaboration.
And as hope rises, the expectation is that the implementation of the scheme will take effect from 2026, and stakeholders are encouraged to put the work required towards making it a reality. In Abuja, Zenred Dingmun, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government is set to relaunch a new model for the National Homegrown School Feeding Programme, following the ongoing reform being coordinated by the National Social Investment Programme Agency. Ruth Aguela reports that the program coordinators, under the supervision of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, engaged stakeholders in Abuja in preparation for the takeoff.
I ate rice, beans, still I'm talking with banana.
1 meal a day, and this brought smiles to millions of pupils across primary schools. Open the gates for more enrollment into schools, building a system of promoting productive learning. Following the impact of the National Homegrown School Feeding Programme, the federal government is set to relaunch a comprehensive and new model targeting 11 million pupils across the country.
You now look at where you can key in and see what you can do in the area of either monitoring and evaluation, in the area of capacity building.
These engagement with stakeholders and development partners is to seek their support towards achieving the set goal by keying into the mechanisms put in place and adopting new strategies towards enhancing the school feeding program.
Must be sourced from a smallholder farmer that is going to be registered.
Part of the new strategies adopted is improving the nutritional value of the meal, promote value chain that benefits both local farmers and cooks to promote empowerment among rural dwellers.
Mr. President is passionate about the position of Nigeria in terms of out-of-school children. And one of that strategy to reduce the number of out-of-school children is strong and effective school feeding programs, and we want to make it in such a way that it's not only going to be a business of National Homegrown School Feeding Program in NSPA, but also engaging private organizations, non-governmental organizations, civil society groups.
Also, we are going to build a digital platform that anybody, the public space, can go into it and see on a daily basis how many children are being fed.
For us, it's providing our technical expertise in terms of ensuring sustainability for food supply for this segment of the population.
As key players continue to engage before the official launch, they are hopeful the new initiative will build confidence and trust that will promote transparency, accountability, and effective coordination of the school feeding program across the country. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Let's pause here. Please stay on. In a swift response to the Easter break tragedy that claimed some lives in Bilibiri town of Gombe State, Governor Mohammed Inuwa Yahaya has donated 2 million naira to the families of 8 of the 5 deceased persons who lost their lives. Abbas Meikano reports that the governor, who announced this during a visit to the affected communities, also announced that the state government will shoulder the medical bills of all other victims receiving treatment at different hospitals.
The tragic incident occurred during Easter procession in Bilibiri town, which resulted in the loss of lives and injuries when a truck driver drove into a procession of Christians celebrating Easter.
When the accident occurred, I went to check, so I was scared. Some people died.
Most of the victims are currently stable and responding well to treatment. The governor visited Bilibiri to show concern and sympathize with the people, especially the bereaved family, during which he donated 2 million naira each to the 5 deceased families. Maitangle, Daladi Sunusume Yemba, and the council chairman, Egla Idris, appreciated the governor's concern over the tragic incident. The governor has since directed a thorough investigation and immediate arraignment of the suspect for immediate prosecution. He has earlier convened an emergency security meeting to douse tension and prevent future occurrence of the ugly incident. While the authorities try to contain the tense situation, people of Gombe State will again live to remember yet another calamity during religious festivity. In Gombe, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
Let's pause here. See you shortly. Sports news is next, and Badi is here to serve us. Badi.
Thanks, Yere. Let's begin with football. As former Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Diary says the Super Eagles of Nigeria can still qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. With 4 draws and a win in the campaign so far, Nigeria's Super Eagles put themselves in a precarious situation, sitting 4th on the table behind Rwanda, Benin Republic, and their next opponents, South Africa. Diary, however, believes inviting the right players to camp and ensuring total concentration without complacency could make the dream a reality.
It's not 100%. Nobody can go to the bank right now, even South Africa cannot take it to the bank that they've qualified.
So we're going to qualify. We're going to win the remaining 4 matches, I can assure you. We have the stars, we have what it takes, and just wait and see. We have a new coach. He's found almost 79 solid players, Nigerian players, both at home and abroad. He's working with them. You know, it's in progress. So I think we have what it takes to win.
Straight to England now, where we'll talk club football, as Liverpool will have to wait till at least Sunday to win their 20th top-flight title, after Arsenal again delayed their title party, despite being forced to a 2-2 draw at home by Crystal Palace this evening in their matchday 34 encounter. Jakob Kiwior shot Arsenal into the lead in the 3rd minute, only for Eberechi Eze to equalize in the 27th minute, but Leandro Trossard restored Arsenal's lead in the 42nd minute, and they held on to the lead until Jean-Philippe Mateta pounced on an error from William Saliba to equalize for Palace to ensure the spoils were shared. And from England to Spain, where Real Madrid are not giving up on their La Liga title dreams, and as the last time we checked, they were leading 1-0 away to Getafe in their matchday 33 game. Arda Güler netted the goal in the 21st minute of the encounter. In results of matches already concluded, Celta Vigo beat Villarreal 3-0, while Athletic Club recorded a 1-0 win over Las Palmas. And finally, a 10-day International Tennis Federation National Level 1 course has ended in Abuja. The tennis coaching program put together by the Nigeria Tennis Federation was to equip participants with the latest coaching techniques, skills and knowledge needed to excel in their various coaching careers.
They are young, they have knowledge of the game, and we're trying to make sure that they understand the modern teaching methodology.
What I have garnered here, I'm going to put it into use to contribute to tennis development.
Well, that's sports news tonight. Let's return to Nyere.
Many thanks, Buddy. The death has occurred of Mrs. Chinyere Ann Nwaneri, who slept in the wood on Friday, 14th March 2025. Thursday, April 24, 2025, is the wake at Nwaneri Dynasty, Umbubu Amiri, by 8 p.m. Requiem Mass will hold on Friday, 25th April 2025 at St. Martin de Tours Catholic Church, Umbubu Amiri, by 10 o'clock in the morning. Interment follows immediately at Nwaneri Dynasty, Umbubu Amiri, Oru East Local Government Area, Imo State. She survived by husband, children, grandchildren, and many other relatives. And that concludes News Extra tonight. From the entire production crew, do have a good night.